We're starting today with Hashem, Rabbi Yagen's lessons on Rabbi Yagen Alav Shalom, his lessons on Pesach. So on Pesach, we know there's a mitzvah to speak about how we were taken out of Egypt. Question is, that's how we got taken out, but how did we get there to begin with? Why did we have to go to Mitzrayim to begin with? So the Torah tells us how Hashem promised Avraham Avinu that he'll get the Holy Land as an inheritance. But Avraham Avinu asked a question. What did he ask? He asked, how will I know I will inherit it? From this question, Hashem said, you should know. Your offspring will be aliens in a land that's not theirs. And the Jews will serve these other nations. And then 400 years they'll be oppressed, and then they will go out. The Gemara says that the slavery in Egypt was Avraham Avinu's punishment for asking Hashem, how will I know that I will inherit the Holy Land? So the question is, from asking a question, 400 years of subjugation? What's going on with that? So Avraham Avinu also, he was a master of Emunah. Nimrod said, bow down to the idol, throw him in the oven because he didn't want to bow down. When Hashem asked him to give his son Yitzhak, he gave his son, no questions asked. So, what? Avraham Avinu, we have a doubt about his emunah because he asked Hashem a question? So the Maharam Prague explains like this. Avraham Avinu asked, how would he know? And Hashem said, from your question, I see a microscopic flaw in your emunah. What do you mean, how will I know? If I told you, I'm going to give it to you. So the tiniest flaw in your emunah will cause a huge rift in your offspring. And therefore, I have to go, and not just, Hashem doesn't just punish. Hashem doesn't just say, oh, go and burn. Go and suffer in Mitzrayim. Through suffering in Mitzrayim, you'll see the 10 plagues, you'll see what I will do to Paro, you will see how I take you out in a great hand, outstretched arm, mighty hand. Through this, you'll make up, your children will learn and fix that flaw of emunah that you had from Mitzrayim. You'll come out with emunah that they wouldn't have had otherwise. So therefore, it's like a mashal, he says. He says the guy buys an apple tree, a little sapling to plant in his garden. So he takes it home, and he passes by a guy who knows plants very well. He's an expert. So he says, don't plant this little baby tree. He says, why not? He says, I see a black speck on the root. He says, so what? It's a black speck. Who cares? No, you don't understand. I see already from this black speck, the apple's going to be very bitter. Enough with you, black speck, sour apples. What are you talking about? So you have to realize that the guy planted it, and exactly what the guy said, that's what it was. That's what happened. So therefore, we have to learn that Hashem saw the same thing. Hashem saw, from your question, I see you have a small speck of lack of emunah. But you think that's nothing today. Well, watch, when the fruit comes, many offspring, many years later, it'll have big effects. They'll be very lacking emunah. That's why, really, Midrash says, we spoke about this last time, Midrash says, Hashem asked him, do you want Gehinam or do you want Galut? And Avraham Avinu chose, I want Galut, I don't want Gehinam. And from then, he got the zechut that whoever has a Brit Milah, the Gemara says, Avraham Avinu sits by the gates of Gan Eden, he doesn't let you, gates of Gehinam doesn't let you go in if you have a Brit. Where do you get this zechut from? Why does he sit there? Because Hashem made him a promise. He says, my kids will go to Galut, not Gehinam. I'm here to use my right, not to let them go into Gehinam. So, Avraham Avinu was promised that he'll be, chosen people, chosen land. And then Hashem says, but don't worry, afterwards they will leave with a great wealth. What is this great wealth he's talking about? Is he talking about money? So you could say, yeah, that they left with the gold and the riches that the Mitzrayim lent them before they left, and the Bizat Hayam, the water that was spitting out another Nautilus, and it was spitting out another, offshore, Royal Oak, and all these other things. They were, offshore, right? Bizat Hayam, offshore. So they go and they're spitting out all these jewels and all these riches in the Kriyat Yam Suf. But really, deep down, what does this mean, this great wealth? So, and also, think about it. Hashem says, don't worry, we'll treat you like a slave for 400 years, but then we'll give you money at the end. So this we'll throw money at you and just be quiet. What kind of comfort is that? You make me a slave and you give me money afterwards? It makes up for everything and I feel better? What does that mean? So he says, no, the great wealth is the ability to be an Eved. Ability to be an Eved for who though? For HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He says, why do we have to go through slavery? He says, slavery made us understand, what does a slave do? Let's not use the word slave. Slave is intense. Let's use the word servant. A servant, he wants to go to sleep now. I'm tired. Afternoon lull. I get tired. People need a coffee in the afternoon. They get tired after lunch. So the guy gets tired. He wants to go to sleep, but now his master calls him. He says, no, you have to come. You have to come. You have to do something for me. So the guy says, ugh, I'm so annoyed, but it's my master. It's my job. I have to. I'm a servant. I have no choice. So he goes. And the guy wants him to meet him the next morning, 6 a.m. And he told him, I have a big trip in the morning. You have to come with me, Mr. Servant. Wake up 6 a.m. Oh, I'm not in the mood. I'm so tired. But it's my job. I'm a servant. I have to get up. And since we did that for Paro, then now we know how to do that for Hashem. So therefore, he says, slavery today, we think as pick the cotton, we'll whip you, you have no rights, you have no life. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about how the obligation to push yourself to do something you might not be in the mood to do, but you know it's the right thing to do, that we learn from Mitzrayim. That we exercise that ability in Mitzrayim. We did it for Paro, now we could do it for Hashem. Why does a person want to be a slave? A person wants to say, what do you mean? I want to be a free man. Who says I want to be an Eved? Who says I want to be a servant? So you have to think about it. Imagine Mashal, a prince, he lives in the palace. He's wealthy, he has comfort, he has everything he wants. He's free to do as he wishes. Suddenly, someone yells at him, wake up early. Somebody yells at him, study intensely. Somebody yells at him, put on your right shoe before you left. Wear this, wear that. It's very difficult. What do you mean? I can't do this. This is driving me nuts. Stop telling me what to do. I want to do what I want to do. And then what happens? Over time, you see, he wakes up late. He can't get his affairs in order. He can't commit to anything. One day he does this. One day he does that. He doesn't get anywhere in life. He has no structure. So therefore, they say the person who's free to do all his desires, he's a real slave. He's a slave to who? His desires. One day his desires say this. His desires say that. He's nowhere to be found. But a guy who is a slave to the truth, he's a free man. What does that mean, free man? He's a free man from his desires, and now he can really do what's right. And if this is the right thing to do, I'll do it. If it's not the right thing to do it, I won't do it. And my desires are thrown out because I'm a slave to the truth. I know the truth. And that's why it says, Ad tikri charut ala luchot, ela herut. Don't read it that the Torah was engraved on the tablets. Read it that the tablets give us freedom. The Torah gives us freedom from our desires and ability to be a real free man. So being a servant to Hashem, it's a paradox. Being a servant to Hashem makes you a real free man, because otherwise you'll be a servant to the yasara, to the desires. And how does Hashem say, I'm your God? Ani anochi Hashem elkecha asher, that I created the world? No. She'oseticha me'eretz Yisrael, I took you out of Egypt. Being close to me comes from where? From Yetziat Mitzrayim. You're my Eved. Okay, so Misal Yesharim says that the person has to know that in this world we're here to work. We're not here to enjoy. Olam haba is where we go to enjoy. Person gets used to eating, gets used to sleeping, walking in a leisurely way, doing whatever he wants. He's missing the boat. But a person who cuts his dinner short because he has to catch Arvit, a person who goes to the mitzvah even though it's inconvenient, he pushes himself to get off the couch or go learn Torah. Such a person, he learns how to build good habits. He's fulfilling Adam La'amal Yulad. He's fulfilling this, that a person was created to work, and we have to realize this. When we say Avadim Hayinu, we were slaves, now we're free. It doesn't mean now we're free, Chofshi, do whatever we want. Avadim Hayinu to Paro, but now we're Avadim to Hashem, and being an Evet to Hashem makes us a real free man. Baruch Naonam.